Massachusetts, seek recognition.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the gentleman for Texas for yielding me the customary 30 minutes, and I yield myself such time as they may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, Republicans are in charge of the House of Representatives. They control the schedule here. They control when bills get brought up for debate. They make the calendar. We could be debating a bipartisan bill that actually helps get more people onto health care, or lowers prescription drug costs and makes coverage more affordable. But instead, Republicans are bringing to the floor a bill to chip away at the Affordable Care Act. They are siding with billionaire corporations and insurance companies and actually spending money to kick people off of health care. We could be debating bipartisan legislation that makes it easier for regular middle-class Americans to buy a home. But instead, Republicans are bringing to the floor a bill that literally increases mortgage fees charged to middle-income borrowers. Time and time again, this majority brings to the floor bills that benefit billionaire corporations, insurance companies, the rich and powerful, big oil, big pharma, all at the expense of everyday people back home who sent us here to fight for them. We could be debating bipartisan legislation that actually addresses our broken immigration system. But instead, Republicans are bringing to the floor a non-binding resolution that condemns a non-existent problem so they can go after immigrants once again. We had a member in the Rules Committee last night yelling and screaming and ranting and raving about all he thinks is wrong with our immigration system and the border. It was actually kind of scary. Listen, I get being passionate about this problem. I'm not here to argue that our immigration system doesn't need to be fixed. We all know that it could use a comprehensive overhaul. But we don't need to be screaming at each other about this non-binding press release of a bill that does literally nothing to help deal with our border. My God. Republicans want to talk about immigration, so let's talk about immigration. Let's talk about how the Republican solution to the border is building a stupid wall that even they know won't work. Let's talk about fentanyl. Let's talk about how most of it is trafficked through legal ports of entry in the United States, by U.S. citizens, by the way. And let's talk about how President Joe Biden seizes more fentanyl at the border than Donald Trump did. That's just a fact. Yet, we had a member last night have a complete meltdown over this issue. Would Republicans rather the Biden administration not seize fentanyl? I don't get it. Make it make sense. Let's talk about how, since the end of Title 42 on May 11th, unlawful entries along the southern border have plummeted. As of June 6, Customs and Border Protection had an average of 3,700 encounters between points of entry or unscheduled encounters per day, a decrease of over 70%. But Republicans don't want to talk about any of that. So instead, they're going to try to get people all worked up by scapegoating vulnerable migrants who are fleeing awful circumstances in search of safety. I can't believe I have to say this, but migrants are not political pawns. They come to our country seeking a better life, often fleeing violence and oppression. They are human beings and deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. Yet Republican governors have treated migrants like they're garbage, busing them across the country like luggage with no advance notice or coordination and dumping them outside after they call the press to show up and make a scene. I find it disgusting. I find it racist. I find it disrespectful to all that this country stands for. This non-binding press release that they're bringing to the floor isn't a serious attempt to solve a problem. They're dropping migrants off in New York City and then attacking New York City for trying to come up with solutions to the problem. This is absurd. The Republicans claim gyms can't be used to house migrants because they want to, quote, protect students. Well, give me a break. Migrants have never been housed in a facility with kids. That's just a fact. We asked in the Rules Committee last night for the person who was bringing the bill before the committee to give us examples. She couldn't. She couldn't. I mean, we want to talk about protecting students, my friends? Let us talk about protecting students. 1,000 kids have died from gun violence this year. 1,000 kids. Where will the next school shooting be? Parents are terrified their kid will be next. Teachers are terrified that their class will be next. Students are terrified they will be next. And Republicans are here regulating gyms instead of guns. What the hell is wrong with these people? This majority is obsessed with demonizing, demeaning, and targeting people who are coming to the United States in desperate search of a better life. Stop appealing to the worst instincts in people. Stop peddling hate. Stop fueling racism. And here is a contrast I want people to know about. President Biden and the Democrats are working to expand the middle class, to build a strong economy from the bottom up and the middle out. Democrats are lowering costs for working families, helping cut inflation by more than half since last summer. Democrats have taken on Big Pharma to reduce prescription drug costs. And Democrats continue to fight special interests to lower health care costs while making child care and housing more affordable for working families. Democrats are investing in America and have created more than 13 million jobs since President Biden took office. Democrats are bringing supply chains back home, fixing our roads and bridges, and delivering clean water and high-speed internet to more communities. Democrats are making our communities safer. We are committed to building on the gun safety legislation we passed last year by strengthening background checks and keeping dangerous weapons of war off our streets to protect American kids. Democrats know that we don't have to choose between an immigration system that reflects our interests and our values, and we don't demonize and attack people who want to come to this country in search of a better life. And you're seeing on the floor today exactly what Republicans have to offer. Nothing. Not a thing. No plans, no ideas. They're just interested in helping the rich and powerful and using immigrants as political pawns to drive a wedge between people. It's a rotten, shameful thing to do. And I urge all my colleagues to vote no on this rule and the underlying bill. And I urge my colleagues on the Republican side, get serious about bringing legislation to the floor that will actually make a difference, that will actually help fix some of the challenges that we face in this country. This is a joke. I reserve my time.